Hey, what's up guys, and thanks for tuning into the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Saint Seiya Saint Cloth Myth EX Dragon Shiryu Final Bronze Cloth. But before we get started, if you haven't yet already done so, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another awesome review. Now, starting off with this box, we can see we got a nice pose of Shiryu here in his final bronze cloth. There was 3 different variations of the bronze cloths. There was the first, there was the new, and there was the final. So this is the final. This is how he appeared in the, you can see here, Saint Seiya, the Hades chapter. So this is how he looked in that chapter. Very, very nice starry background. We got a dragon right here, Saint Cloth Myth EX, Dragon Shiryu, final bronze cloth. Got the seals and everything here, Bandai. On the top, we do see, again, Dragon Shiryu, final bronze cloth, and of course that is the statue of Athena. On the bottom, we just got Shiryu throwing his Rozan Shoryuha, which is literally like a dragon uppercuts. On this side, we see the dragon object mode, which is very, very nice. One thing I noticed about these final bronze cloth versions is that their object modes are actually very expressive. He's actually in a nice, cool pose, similar to how Pegasus was when he's almost flying. Whereas the first and the new ones were basically just static. They're kind of just like standing there. So I really like this new design. And of course, this was the same thing as this. We got Rozan Shoryuha again. And on the back, we got your product shots of Dragon Shiryu with the different hairs that are included. Very nice. We got the object mode. We got, I guess, a hand accessory that you can use with Capricorn Shura, which is very nice, which I did do a review of last year. I believe it was last year, I think. And we got the different face sculpts here, as well as Excalibur hand. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. Not a very big box, but it is very hefty, so I believe there's quite a bunch of accessories in here. So, without further ado, let's get out our trusty knife and let's crack this guy open. Alright, and here we have the Dragon Final Bronze Cloth in its object mode, as well as Shiryu himself. Now let's start off actually taking a look at Shiryu, because I just want to show you some differences between this and that previous version, which is the new bronze cloth version, which I have right here. Now, if you see here, I do have the hairpiece just like this because I didn't bother taking everything out of storage. I just kind of took off all the armor, put it on the object mode, and here I'm just going to do a quick comparison here. So, I mean, for the most part, the body is the exact same. The arms are a little different. You can see this new one on the left here has the armbands where the other one does not. It also has a little hole on the shoulder where the armor would attach. The head, of course, is different. Can't really say I like any one in particular, but they're just different, and I do appreciate that. Hair sculpt is about the same. I would almost say this newer one on the left is a little bit more detailed and finer, but of course this one's definitely a little bit more dustier as well. But something that I do want you to notice is that when you look at it from the side here, this new one has so much more room between the hair and the body, whereas this old one does not. And I'll show you later when all the armor is attached, I'll do a comparison between these two again, that this one has significant head articulation limitations because the hair is just so close to the body, and how the dragon cloth is actually, how it actually goes onto the body, it really just limits his head mobility, whereas this one, there's quite a bit of gap between the hair and the body, which really allows for much increased neck mobility. So I really like that. So yeah, there's a comparison between these two. The rest of the body is pretty much the same, which is pretty good. And of course, the feet are a little different, as you can see here. So yeah, there is that. And also do have the 1.0 body here. This is actually the only regular 1.0 body that I have. This is actually a Saint Cloth Myth, not a Saint Cloth Myth EX. This is version 1 of Shiryu, also known as the first bronze cloth. And we can see there's quite a significant difference here. I can almost say that Shiryu grew up and got bigger, but you can just see the body types are completely different. And for the most part, the EX body types are much better than these older ones. These ones tend to be a little floppy and loose. And also, if you don't know, the Saint Cloth Myth regular figures actually have much more plastic than metal compared to the EX figures, which is why I pretty much avoided these for the most part. But I just saw this back in stores, back in ThinkGeek down in the States when I was in school there, and I just could not pass up Saint Seiya figure in stores. So I picked it up. So yeah, there's that. And on the back, we can see the hair is much more detailed than this new one. In the face, if you compare the face, you can actually see that the older face looks a little bit more kiddish. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Articulation Head is on a swivel hinge. Base of the neck is on a ball joint. Shoulders are on ball joints. They can kind of go forward and back with the butterfly. They can hinge up to 90. There is a bicep rotation here. Double jointed elbow. That gets you pretty good. And a ball hinge at the wrist. Getting these arms out of the way. We do have an ab crunch that goes forward to about there. Not the greatest. And an arch that is pretty much non-existent, so that's all you get. We have a swivel at the waist, legs kick forward that far, kick back that far, can go and do the splits, even better than a figure arts if I say so myself. We got a thigh rotation here, double jointed knee, which actually gets pretty much to 180, a swivel at the ankle, we have a hinge that goes forward that much, goes back that much, a ankle tilt that gives you that much, as well as a toe pivot that goes up to there. So pretty good articulation. And the structural stability of this guy is fairly decent. As you can see here, if I'm giving him a shake test, the legs don't kind of give in. So that's pretty good. This one's starting to come out a little bit, but they're not flopping around that much. So this is pretty good. Now, if you compare this to the older one, technically the 2.0 body is actually for Shiryu, just for Shiryu, is not bad. He's a little bit more floppy, you can see, than this one, but he's actually not bad. Some of the other ones are horrible, so he's actually pretty good. So, now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at the, well, make sure you can stand. Let's take a look at the bronze cloth itself. So this is actually really, really cool. And as I said before, I really feel that these bronze cloths, as they progress from their first all the way to their new and to their final forms, really have just gotten so much more expressive. And there's so much more just detail and just life to these object modes that the original ones really did not have as much. See, we got a nice head crest here. Nice dragon. We got the arms here kind of prancing. We got a nice tail that's kind of looping around. We got the little legs down here. We also have some gold here on the bottom as well. Very, very nice. You can kind of put the arm or the hand guards back here. So yeah, very, very nicely detailed. Simple, but gets the point across object mode. So there's that. I'll just bring the other ones in to compare as well. This is the new bronze version, as we can see. Definitely a big difference compared to this final one. You can see the final one is almost like a full dragon, whereas this one is almost just like a dragon that's kind of crouching down and hunkered down and just it doesn't look bad, but definitely cannot compare to this new one here. And of course, this is version 1, also known as the first bronze cloth. And of course, this is the Saint Cloth Myth, not the EX version. But again, not bad. One thing I do like about this one is the color. The color on this is really, really nice. It's like a nice emerald green color, whereas the other one's more of a bluish green kind of turquoise color. So I do love this color though. And again, head is very simple. So yeah, that is that. So getting everything out of the way here, what I will do now is take off all the armor on this final Dragon Bronze Cloth object mode, and I will armor Shiryu up, and we will be right back. Alright, and here we have Shiryu all armored up in his final bronze cloth version. So, starting off with the figure here, we can see very, very nice design here. We got this nice kind of almost turquoise greenish blue color all the way around. We have some gold kind of highlights on the belt here. And yeah, the knees are a little weak, but it's not the end of the world there. We have a nice shield with the design here on this left arm, and we do have kind of the dragon head on the right arm here, which is really, really nice. And the shoulder pads are all kind of spiky and pointed, which is kind of a contrast to his new bronze version, which is the V2 version, the version 2. See, we do have the dragon claws on the shoulders here, on the back. Nothing to see. We do see when we kind of have the dragon arms kind of attaching the shoulder pads to the body here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, we already went over articulation in his unarmed form. So I'm just going to leave him here and let's take a look at some of the accessories that Shiryu comes with. So First of all, we got the fists are on him right now, and since he is a newer figure, they actually opted to not give us the flesh hands, the ones without the armor, because for the most part, you're never gonna display Shiryu without his armor. You're either going to display him with the armor like he is right now, or you're just going to display the object mode. That's why they completely just took that out, which I feel like is a good move on that part. So we got the fists, we got the open hands, and of course these are for his one of his signature attacks, the Rozan Hyakuryuha, which is basically he's firing 100 dragons out of his hands, which is really cool. And we have two kind of charging hands, just like that. Very nice. And we have two kind of blade hands, and of course these are for Excalibur, which is another signature attack that was bestowed upon him by Capricorn Shura, which we will take a look at in a second as well. So there are these, and of course, very easy, just a ball joint, you'll pop those fists off and you put this one on. So yeah, there is that. So he actually also comes with a specific hand. We see this one is kind of like a holding hand, and he also comes with a gold holding hand. And of course, if you saw in the box earlier, this is for Capricorn Shura. So you can actually have the two hands kind of holding together like this, almost as like I'm trusting Athena to you, and here's my powers as well, and make sure you succeed. So that's pretty cool. I'll show that off in pictures towards the end of the video. All right, next let's take a look at some of the faces here. So here we have Shiryu with the regular kind of stern face. We have two faces with the eyes closed, and of course, if you don't know Shiryu, he's kind of a proud guy. He's like, oh, I can always beat whoever without sight, and there was even a point where he blinded his own eyes just to prove a point. So here we have closed eyes Shiryu with a closed mouth and an open mouth. So there is that. And we also have two open-eyed faces. So this one here is a smiling face on the left, and the one on the right is, of course, a screaming face. So yeah, there is that. And to change the faces is very easy. We would pop off this front hairpiece. It would come off just like that. And we would take this, sorry, probably didn't see that, but as you can see, there's three pegs right here that would peg into these three holes on the top here. So you would just pop this guy off, and then you would pop this face off, and it's connected via these two pegs here on these bottom set of holes. And let's see here, let's make him happy. So we're gonna give him this happy face. Again, two pegs, two holes, plug that in. But instead of this hairpiece that we just took off, let's use another hairpiece, and let's attach his helmet while we're at it. Why don't we? So this is the hairpiece that is specifically used for the helmet piece, or more of the helm, the crest piece. And of course, just to show that off, here it is. Very, very nice. We got more gold here. So he does have a little bit of gold. So he has some on his kind of belt buckle, and this is, of course, the other gold that's on the cloth here, and I really, really like this. It's a very, very nice design. So what you would do with this is you would kind of slide everything through here. Now, I do recommend that you take this, the horn piece off, actually, because, of course, just looking at it, it is extremely delicate. You do not want to break that. So just kind of wiggle this off, nice and gentle like, just like that. First, we would take this, and we would kind of slide this between these two hair pieces and into kind of this groove right here. So that may take a little bit of doing, so hopefully I can do it without cutting the video. Alright, you know what, so I ended up having to cut the video because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this on without a hassle. But then as I was fiddling with it, I also noticed that this bottom hair piece comes off. So this makes it really, really easy at this point. So you would take this helm piece, take that peg, put it in this slot right here. And of course, this still isn't the easiest, but it is much easier now that you can actually pop this off, just like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these two pegs on this hairpiece, and we're going to plug it into those two holes. You can see right in there. So I'm going to plug that in. And here we have this all ready to go. And you would just take these three pegs, plug them into this hairpiece right here, just like so. Make sure everything's all snug. And finally, you would take this crest piece, take that peg, plug it into that center hole, And here we have Dragon Shiryu with his helm. And again, my dog is barking outside, but yeah, so that is that. Very, very, very cool. I really like that. So I'm going to put him here, get all this out to the side. He does have 2 other accessories, and of course that is the hairpiece. So he has the flowing hair that's on him right now, and of course this is what he came packaged with. But he also has a hairpiece that has the hair kind of flowing off to the side. And of course this is for his Rosan Hyakuryuha, where he's literally firing off all these dragons from his body. And that looks pretty cool. It's almost as everything's kind of flowing off of him. So I really like that. So of course, to change this, you would take this back hairpiece off, as we saw earlier, and just plug this one on. So there is that. This other one is a hairpiece that flows upwards. And if you remember, I said Shiryu's signature attack was the Rosan Shiryuha, which was a giant uppercut. So he's basically sending all of his power, his Cosmo, up into the air. And of course, this is the one that has everything shooting up into the air. So that is that. Now, with all of the accessories out of the way, let's get into the final part of this video, which is comparisons. Here we have the second version, also known as the new bronze version. So let's take a look and compare these two first, why don't we? So if we take a look here, there's fairly a lot of similarities between these two guys. The horns are very similar. I would say the final version has more of a curve, whereas the new one has more kind of jagged edges and more sharp corners. The shoulders on this one are definitely more pointy, whereas this one are just straight up round. The chest armor, again, is more pointy on this new one, or the final one, I should say, and a little bit more rounder on this new one. He has kind of more gold on the belt buckle. This one is a little bit less. This one for the belt, the waist section, is simply just the belt, whereas this one actually has more of a skirt, which is kind of cool. Shield, of course, on both sides. Different designs slightly, you can see. Whereas this side, this one has the dragon head, and this one, you can't really tell that, but that doesn't really look like a dragon head to me. And of course, the armor here, we got the leg armor pretty much covering the entire lower leg, whereas this one, there's some pretty big gaps here. So yeah, and of course, the tips of the feet of the new one is black, and the final one is, of course, just a straight up turquoise color. So that is that. And this is actually the only St. Cloth Myth figure that I have, not EX, and of course this is the first version of Dragon Shiryu, also being the first bronze cloth. So let's take a look and compare these two guys now. So we can see here, there's quite a big difference between these two, and of course the original one actually comes with a helm, whereas this new one is more of just a head crest. We can see the dragon claws are clawing out to the side instead of pointing forward on this. And we do see that the original one does have a skirt, where the new one back there does not. And the legs actually cover quite a bit more compared to that new one as well. And of course, there's no dragon head on the right arm. The shield is fairly similar. I would say the design of this old one actually matches that of the new one back there more so than this one here. And yeah, and of course the color on this is definitely much more of a vibrant emerald green, which I really, really do like. I even like that more so than this color right here. But yeah, so that is that. And of course, here's all three dragons together. And hopefully they do release a St. Cloth Myth EX version of this original first bronze cloth Dragon Shiryu. And of course, I'm definitely hoping that they reissue, or rather revive, this new bronze version, because this is actually one of the older figures that came out, and he has some quality control issues. As we saw earlier, his hips are fairly stable. However, this chest armor is very loose. You see that? It doesn't really peg into the back. These shoulder pads don't really peg into the claws as well either, and they tend to fall off fairly easily. But besides that, everything else is fairly good about this figure. I just really wish that they kind of cleaned up this chest armor, because that just looks really, really bad. And of course, you can see there's this massive gap in the middle there as well. So yeah, that is that. Let's move these guys off to the side. Here we have him next to Capricorn Shura, which of course we saw earlier with the gold hand that actually came with Shiryu. This is one of his mentors. It's not his master, but it is his mentor. And we do see that he is a little bit taller than Shiryu, as he should be. So there is that. And last but not least, here is his partner, one of his partners, and of course this is Pegasus Seiya. And I don't know if you actually noticed that, but Shiryu's a little bit taller than him. And I actually do appreciate that because there is an age gap between the 5 Bronze Saints. But again, these are the only final bronze cloths that are out right now, at least the EX version. And Andromeda Shun is actually announced already. I do have that pre-order. It's coming in the fall sometime, I believe. And when that does come here, I will do a comparison with the new bronze version as well. So yeah, that is that. So getting Seiya out of the way here. And last but not least, why not? I have Goku figure arts, and of course we see completely different line. So not really to scale, but there, just so you have an idea of how big Shiryu is. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's my review of the almost at SH figure arts. Wow. Saint Seiya Saint Cloth Myth EX Final Bronze Cloth Dragon Shiryu is a great figure. I really like the quality control on this guy. He's very, very sturdy. I love the design. Everything is really cleaned up now recently with these Saint Cloth Myth EX figures compared to what we were before. He comes with a fair amount of accessories. I really do like these extra hair pieces that just add a lot of character to this guy. Of course, also the golden hand to have him interact with another figure, which is really nice. And just I feel like the overall sculpt and design of this figure is just very, very cool. And he is fairly cheap. He is not a P-Banda exclusive, which is actually nice because a lot of the Saint Seiya figures are becoming P-Banda exclusive because they're just not very popular internationally. But yeah, if you do want to pick this guy up, I highly suggest you do so. Again, he's very cheap. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye.